I'm Peter Brusso, and I'm with Richard Bentley, my co-host for the SeniorScamsPodcast.com. Hello, Richard. How are you?
Good, Peter. How are you doing this afternoon?
Well, after working out all these webcams and this and that, trying to get a good quality instead of just pictures, well, people can see us now. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So, well, that's good. That's good.
So let's tell the story. You started, of course, you're a Legal Shield associate, independent associate, and you have been looking at identity theft and fraud and stuff like that. And you came to one of our meetings and got talking about senior scams. So tell me a little bit how you stumbled across this, and then we'll go talk about where we're going with it.
All righty. As you mentioned, I'm an independent associate with Legal Shield, and that's a company that offers prepaid legal services for less than $1 a day to individuals. And it also has part of that membership, or an add-on to that membership, is an identity theft program. It's very robust. It's done by Kroll and Associates. They're a worldwide company, and they specialize in investigative services. And they do a great job. So I started, through my website that you so graciously helped me develop. I started doing a blog, and I decided I would do the blog on the growing epidemic of identity theft in the United States. It's the fastest growing crime in the country. And in doing that, in doing my research, I started coming across some articles. I came across one in the local Palm Desert paper that talks about a meeting held at the Palm Springs Senior Citizen Center, where they invited the authorities to come in and talk to the senior citizens about the potential to have their identity theft or scams or whatever that could go to them. And in reading the article in the local paper, they said that the Coachella Valley is the ground zero for identity theft with seniors, because the demographics out here, as you are well aware, lean heavily towards senior citizens.
Right.
And it seems as though they're getting hit very hard, and they're focusing on this area. They quote one survey that estimated that seniors lose over $3 billion a year to financial abuse.
Wow.
And the ironic part of it is it doesn't always come from strangers. It often comes from friends, families, and neighbors. So there are a lot of bad guys out there, the article says, just quoting them so they can, make sure they understand where they're coming from. So you and I were talking at a meeting, and I was telling you about it, and you read my blogs, and we thought that, we should focus a site and some podcasts on the senior citizens and the threats to them, and hopefully give them awareness and maybe some tips on how to avoid the being scammed.
Yeah, no, that was good. And some of the things that we read, the scams go across the whole wide range of stuff, from people getting called and needing money because they're a long lost grandson or a granddaughter. And I read one. I was really surprised at how much information there was out there, but it's all written. It's not in a podcast. It's not something for them to listen to easily and at all, anyway. And so I think that was a good thing. But I was going to say that I read about this one elderly woman who two guys came to her door just before the snowy season. And I guess this was in Pennsylvania, and they said for $500 for the year, they'll shovel the snow out and take care of the ice, and she would never have to worry about that again. And lo and behold, she paid them the money. The daughter came over, found out, wanted to see the paperwork. She had no paperwork. She had no way to contact them. Actually, they did. They left a flyer. I forgot that part. And the telephone number for their services rang through to a pizza parlor.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Forget that money. So that and you're right. And I think that if you think about it, not only are we at ground zero out here in the Coachella Valley, but Florida must be huge. Think.
I would think that anywhere where there's a high retirement rate in retirement communities like Florida, Arizona,
Right.
here, that you're gonna have a high concentration of the scams. You're also right. There's a wide variety of issues. They go from home improvement, funeral scams, phony government scams,
Hmm.
and there is an abundant amount of information, like you said, but it's spread out all over uh, the internet and the web, and it's just very hard for seniors to access right now, and it's very hard to to really find it. And I think what we're trying to do here is take this information and centralize it and make it easily accessible to the seniors, not just in the Coachella Valley, but across the country.
Yeah, now you had mentioned about how we're going to get people to actually, seniors to find out about this and consume these podcasts. And I thought, well, let's deputize seniors. Let's find some champions and make them deputies for our senior scam podcast. Deputies, maybe even get them a badge made. I think we can actually do that. And and they can be our ambassadors to go out amongst the seniors in the retirement areas. And some of these places have clubhouses and whatnot, so you can go there, and they can go there and find out about it, but start to consume that. But I think that might be a good way to get that out and going. Um, that might answer the mail because you were questioning how do we get them? How do we get them to listen?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. My concern was that that we could probably get a percentage of the seniors to go online and check it out on their own, but we want to try to hit as many as we can. And I think your idea is a very good one. I happen to live in a gated community, and we have a homeowners association, and they put out a monthly newsletter and they hold meetings. And I was thinking that I can just go around to most of these gated communities in the Palm Valley area and talk to the homeowners and ask them to be our deputy to get the word out to their senior residents.
Yeah, I think we can even have a deputy um, page that they go sign up and put in their details, and then we send them some. They read what our policies are and what we're after,
Mhm.
and we authorize them to be advocates for our site, and that might be kind of fun because people get excited by that. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I was telling
I think you're right.
I was telling Mark Paul about it today, and he's a marketing guy, and he goes, "That's brilliant, man! If you could put it in a
Yeah,
box with a little badge and this and that, and
yeah,
it could be a lot of fun to develop
yeah.
something like that." The other thing I had thought about too, to run a podcast and our time and money, we're going to have to get some donations, so I'm going to put a donation button up there. But also later on, when we get enough views going on, we can certainly monetize the site with AARP or other services that we deem appropriate for seniors, because we're going to aggregate seniors, and so we can keep alive at least and cover the costs maybe. But the biggest thing is it's a service to the seniors. Truly, that has to be done.
I think our mission, as we've talked about it, is definitely to educate and protect our seniors that are just not aware of the surroundings and the potential that they have for having their income and their savings and all taken away from them. And if we can get donations to keep it going and all, like that's great. And if we can get some related advertisements on the site like ARP and all, I think that's great also.
Yeah, that's way downstream, obviously, but from our
Yeah.
hearts to their hearts, if we can help expose these scams. Now, the other thing we were talking about earlier too was I have two guys out here in the Salton Sea that have been scammed, and one of them was apparently his AOL, which site actually his AOL account was hacked. They got a hold of his address book, and people say, well, what could that harm? Well, with that, they send out. There's two things that can happen, but in this case, they found a good close family friend of his, a childhood friend, and got his name and everything, and sent an email from his account. Well, it looks like it's from his account to Tommy Lee, my friend's account, saying he was stuck in Scotland and he needed $5,000. He'd been robbed and this and that, and please help me get home. And apparently there was a website he could go to send money, and he tried that, and that didn't work. And so then he drove all the way into town, 40 miles that way to a Western Union, tried to wire the money, and I think it was like 3 grand. Um, and they wouldn't let him do it because they knew it was a scam. But he got that far, and he actually had to sit there at that counter and say, "Are you sure?" You know, because that's my friend out there. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
boy, it pulls on your heartstrings that way. You know?
Yeah, it sure does. And the creativity that these people use to get a bogus story out is just amazing. And you wonder, like you say, why do people even fall for it? But there could be a lot of reasons that they're vulnerable at the time they get that call. One, they want to help their friend, or two, that $10 million Irish lottery ticket that they never bought, but they won. They could use the money.
Yeah.
There's a million reasons why they're vulnerable at the moment that they're approached. And I think that's the key point is these scammers approach millions of people, and all they need is 1 or 2%
One and
to
two,
fall
right?
for it, and they're making the money. Yeah,
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 absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
these scammers are crazy, brilliant. I mean, like you said earlier, if they
Mhm.
spend that much effort just being on the right side of the force, they'd be multimillionaires possibly, you know. But instead, they scam
They
this.
would be. No, they would be, and they'd be contributing to our society rather than creating such a terrible time for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, in my research, the FBI has a whole website section dedicated to senior fraud. I was surprised at that. And of course, there's a lot of other senior fraud sites, but I was really surprised that the government was tracking it that hard.
Well, I was surprised in doing the research and following up on the research that you had sent me, just how many sites there are devoted to senior fraud, and and um, and just how much information is available to our seniors, and how and again, the problem is it's all over the place. The senior isn't going to think to check the FBI website
Right.
for senior fraud. They're not going to know these other sites to do it. And I think again, using what we know, and extrapolating some things from what they have put into it, I think we can have a really content rich website that is going to be of great value to a lot of people.
Now let's talk identity theft for just a second. Because that's something you actually, I can't. You can actually help with if somebody has had an identity theft or is afraid of that. You can't stop somebody from writing a check, at their front door for some service that they're never going to get, or you can't stop them from sending money to some website for that Irish lottery ticket, you know. But what can Legal Shield do for identity theft?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm an independent associate with Legal Shield, and we have a tremendous identity theft program that helps people. And if they are hacked or fraud has occurred, we have a vehicle that they can have someone who from Kroll who will do all the legwork and restore their credit to what it was before it happened. And so it's a very good program that I think is beneficial because there are some identity thefts that you have no control over. Like I can't control the fact that I may have shopped at Target over the holiday season and all my information was scammed. I have no control over that. I can control not doing foolish things and giving people I don't know money or giving out information over the internet. But people do that also. So the key thing is you need to be able to be protected find out immediately that you've had a problem
Hmm.
and that the problem exists, especially on the ones where you're giving out personal information, because that information you may not ever know that your identity was stolen until you go to collect Social Security benefits, or your spouse goes to collect them after you pass away. You may not know it was hacked.
Hmm.
And with this program, you have a great monitoring system that notifies you immediately
Right.
if something is unusual in your account.
Right. Yeah. So that's cool. So, well, you talk about shopping online and Target, but wouldn't Legal Shield protect you from that fraud too?
Yes, it won't protect you from the fraud. I mean, there's no
Well, they'll
way that
fix it. They'll
if
go fix it,
someone
right? I bet they'll
they'll
help you
fix
fix
it.
it.
Yes,
Right.
if the unfortunate event you've had your identity stolen like that, they will fix it. With limited power attorney will take all the information, go to the different credit card companies, bank
Hmm.
statements, Social Security, all of them, fix it for you, restore your credit to what it was before the theft that occurred, and you don't have to do anything. They
Y-
do it all for you, which is unique to Legal Shield.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like an ad for Legal Shield, which we're not doing. We're just
Yeah,
trying to give some
right,
resources for people that shoot. If we knew how to fix all that, that would be good. So
right.
it was been really kind of fun. I mean, this website is just slapped together so quickly too. From your thought
Yeah.
on Tuesday, and it's
Hmm.
Friday. We have a website. We have a
Yeah.
name. we're podcasting already.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to be able to
Yeah.
tell the 111 Business Group that, gee, from an idea, here it is. Go
Mm.
visit it, take a
Yeah.
peek, and then we can start.
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting, and my 3 month relationship with you has been nothing but excitement, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to this program.
Yeah, well, that's going to be fun because, on your own website, which you did, I taught you how to do your own website at age 74, which was unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah.
And then you built your own mobile site. Now, even a lot of design developers don't do that. And you did that, and then
Yeah.
and you started blogging, and their blogs were excellent. Just the super duper
Yeah.
high content, real good stuff. And you did that with Dragon Naturally Speaking, because that way you type really slowly. So, gee, anybody can do this if you had the right tools. And now
Yeah.
we're putting a podcast, and we had our first
Right.
podcast. This is for 101 Marketing Podcast.com, a shameless plug from my side. And then this is going to be a lot higher speed because we have the dual screen thing here we're working on, and people will like to be able to watch us interface back and forth as opposed to just having some stills come up and or just looking at your face or my face. So now I'm
Yeah.
hoping we can do this pretty well, and so each week we can start pumping out podcasts on the senior scams that we're running across, and talk about each one in particular and some takeaways, for people. And this podcast is pretty much kind of sort of off the cuff. My biggest takeaway would be on my side, and I'll ask you on yours. My biggest takeaway would be, the identity fraud that Legal Shield could offer to help. Don't be handing out money out the front door for services with a couple of guys, and check them out first. Get some testimonials, get some referrals possibly before you ever do that. Call the police department possibly, see if there's anything like that going on. And just be really, really careful on how you spend your money and throw it out there. What kind of takeaways might you have there?
Well, I think the main takeaway I have is this: because of the technology and your expertise, we are going to be able to get to thousands upon thousands of seniors, who knows, maybe millions, uh, and help them identify the pitfalls that they face with people trying to take their money. Uh, I think I obviously we talk about Legal Shield, but my main motivation for this is to do a service to my fellow senior citizens, and going forward, just add value to their life, and hopefully it's something they look forward to.
That's good. And for any of the listeners, there's a button at the top. We have to imagine ourselves at the website. There's a button at the top for podcasts, and you can go listen to more podcasts. All right, Dick. Well, thanks for the opening volley here on our Senior Scams podcast, and appreciate you coming on and being a host with me. And as the five would say, we're co-hosts. We both are equally important on this show and
Yeah.
putting it together, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
and we'll schedule the next podcast here shortly. And so, with any further ado, thanks, Dick.
Well, thank you, Peter, and have a good evening.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.